problem?
Not in my house.
Yep, you know what time it is, man. This is, of course, your favorite channel, man, CTB. This is Chin Tuck Boxing. I'm your boy, Jay Slay. So what up to him, man?
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, definitely, man. You know what you're tuning into, man. This is a segment we call here Chin Check. This is when we rock you guys' chin with boxing news, boxing information, boxing rumors. And sometimes we put some money in you guys' pockets by giving you the odds of the fight. But what we're talking about today, man, we're going to touch on a couple things, man. We want to touch on the fight that's coming up this weekend. It's a 154 pound, which is a super welterweight fight between former champion, former two-division champion. Was it two-division? Yeah, two-division champion and Danny Garcia, and former contender and Jose Benavides. That fight's coming up this Saturday. So we want to touch on that a little bit. Also, we want to touch on the possible PBC schedule coming out the same day as that fight. And will Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford be on that schedule? We're going to chop it up all here on this Chin Check. But let's start with the fight, man. Are you looking forward to this weekend's bout between this is Danny Garcia's debut at 154. So what are you expecting to see in the fight?
I think it's a good fight. It's rare in boxing that we get a 50-50 fight. And to me, I think it's a pretty even fight. I think Benavides is more accustomed to the 154-pound weight class. But I feel like Danny Garcia has been slightly more active than Benavides. And I see a lot of problems that Benavides can cause Danny Garcia and vice versa. I see the problem that Danny Garcia can cause Benavides. And I think they both kind of at the crossroads are trying to prove themselves at 154. So this is going to be an interesting fight because they both have a name and they're both popular. So I think that it'll be a good fight for both of them to put their name in the 154 round of division so people can start to believe whether they're contenders or not.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like I said earlier, this is Danny Garcia's debut at 154. I think this is also Jose Benavides, if I'm not mistaken, because I think his last fight was at 160. So I want to see, there's a couple of things I want to see that makes this a 50-50 fight. A few things that I see is how the weight, coming down in weight for Benavides will look, how Danny Garcia power will look at 154. There's a whole lot of variables to this fight. Like you said, it's a 50-50 fight. I agree with that. I don't know where I'm going with it yet. I kind of want to wait till Friday to make my prediction. I'm going to have to watch some film, of course. But going off the top of my head, it's going to be a fight in the pocket. I mean, both these guys, they throw punches in the pocket. Jose Benavides is known to be a great counter puncher in the pocket, and so is Danny Garcia. They're both known to have great timing and great counter punching. So it can only go one or two ways, man. Either it could be a slugfest, or it's going to be a slow-paced counter-punching bout where people are going to be throwing jabs and looking for counter-punches all night. We'll see, man. We'll see. I'm hoping to be entertaining because I think both of these guys need an entertaining fight. Danny Garcia coming off his losses at 147, and Jose Benavides, I think he lost his 160 belt too, didn't he? Did he lose that belt? I can't remember. I might have to check that out and see. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. But I believe he lost at 160 his last bout, or he didn't look that great. It was one of the two. I can't really remember. But so he needs to win also. He needs to look good, especially if they want to fight for any of these titles once Charlo vacates and moves up. But yeah, man, let's talk about the schedule coming out with PBC, man, on the same, possibly the same.
Before we get to schedule, I got one question. And y'all remember, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Before we get to the schedule, just a quick question. These are two common opponents for Spence and Crawford. Do you take anything into this fight this weekend that can sway or make you feel differently about how that fight can play out by what happens between Garcia and Benavides?
It depends on how it turns out. I say this, I think Danny will be the favorite just because of name value and competition value. So I would say if he wins, it's kind of an expected win. And of course, David Benavides would just be saying he would just be another fighter that lost to top class competition. But if for some reason Danny looks suspect in here or loses against Benavides, then yeah, I think the comparison is going to come out. I think people are going to say, especially saying that the Garcia fight was more recent, I believe, I think the Spence Garcia fight was more recent than the Benavides Crawford fight. So they're going to say, well, was Danny Garcia washed when Earl fought him? Because people would like to say that Earl Spence's resume at 147 is so much superior to Bud's. And Danny Garcia is one of those names they include in that and saying that. So would that prove that Danny Garcia was in over the hill if he did lose to somebody who they quote unquote beat with one hand, especially when it happened years ago. To me, that'll be the only way I see it being compared to them two. But it's styles make fights, man, in my opinion. And what about you?
Yeah, I don't put too much into it because when you play that, he beat him or he beat that guy, it rarely works in boxing. It works in other sports, but in boxing, like you said, styles makes fights. So it's kind of hard to just because one fight beat a certain fighter a certain way that you can just assume that this fighter can beat that fighter. Only thing I would say is I think it's a close fight. I think it's going to be a highly competitive fight. Like you said, whether it's going to be exciting for casual, I guess, fans, we don't know because, like you said, it could turn into a counterpunch fight where they'll pretty much be waiting on each other because they both are counterpunchers. But as far as if it's a non-competitive fight and if Danny Garcia washes David Benavides or vice versa, it could sway me a little bit. But even then, I wouldn't pick too much into it. But definitely, I am going to be watching it, and it does make the fight more intriguing, honestly. Just to see, what I mean? Because, sometimes, like you said, people down talk Terrence Crawford resume as far as the people he fought at 147 because they're not as popular as the Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, the Keith Thurmans of the world. But, David Benavides, not David Benavides, but Benavides is a good fighter in his own right. So, maybe people understand. Almost the same thing with Green Machine. People thought Green Machine was a bum, and then we come out to find out he'll put a solid dude because he gave Virgil Ortiz a tough fight. He actually put him on his tail. I almost beat him. So it'll more justify, I think, Crawford's resume than actually showing me Spence can beat him or Crawford can beat Spence.
Yeah, because Danny Garcia also came out recently too. I think it was on Fight Hype. Either it was Fight Hype or I'll look it up in a minute and put a link in the description. But he also came in with an interview recently where he said that he wasn't 100% when he fought Spence, saying that he was by being in the bubble, quote unquote, because during COVID times. He said that he wasn't 100% focused. It was hard to make weight, and he pretty much. I ain't gonna say there was excuses, but I will say he had a whole lot of reasons and why he didn't perform up to par. Even though he threw more punches in that fight than he normally throw in a fight, he still feel like he wasn't 100% in that fight. And he still think that 147. He said it's kind of weird. I kind of want your opinion on this too, before we move on. He in a recent interview he said that he felt better at making 140 than he did at making 147. He said he felt more stronger at 140, but at 147 he just felt weird. Like he said, he felt like he was weaker at that weight. But at 154 now he feels great. It's the real shit and bullshit segment. Would you say that was real shit or bullshit? And him saying that 140 was easier to make than 147.
Yeah, they gotta be some bullshit. I never heard of a fighter saying having to cut 7 more pounds and saying they felt better about making the weight. And then if that was it was your reasoning, you can't come back and tell me that you feel better at 154 than you feel at 147. So I think it was just somewhat bullshit. Like I said, I'm intrigued. I want to see what he looked like at 154 because, like you said, at 147, let's be honest, Danny Garcia was underwhelming. He didn't really do as much as people thought he did. He had the name. He was in a lot of big fight, but he also came up short a lot. So this is a chance to redeem himself. This is a chance to make his name at 154. And you know what I'm saying? He has a name, like you said. So all I do is take for one impressive win over Benavides for him and a Charlo fight to be interesting. Him and a Fundora fight to be in. Him and Tony Harris. Like I said, it's plenty of people. Or Terrence Crawford want to come up there. Or Keith Thurman has been talking about fighting at 154. If he want to go to 154 and they want to have another fight. So it's a lot on the line for both of these guys.
Yeah, I agree with the statement. You said it was bullshit in my opinion. I would say this though. I know why he was coming from when he said that, because you got to look at the competition level he was fighting at 140. While he does have some great names at 140, Matisse was a great puncher who after he lost to Danny Garcia kind of fizzled out a little bit. He fought a washed up, in my opinion, what's the guy's name? Morales. He fought a washed up Morales. He fought him twice actually. First time he beat him was a close, controversial fight, but then knocked him out in the second fight. Who else he fought at 140?
He beat American.
Khan on the come up.
Harrell was a gift for most people.
Yep.
Lamont Peterson, some people say that was a gift.
Lamont Peterson.
I thought he won that fight, Lamont Peterson, but
And then you got
he beat Zab Judah. He beat Zab Judah back in his career.
I said that Zab fight was a great fight though. It was a good fight, so I give him credit for the fight because of the great fight. But at 147, who did he fight? He fought Rod Salka. He fought what's the guy's name? the Oxnard guy. Damn, what is his name?
Yeah, he beat the guy. He beat the guy that Adrian Broner fought from Chicago. The guy. He tough look. He tough, but he's not on.
Damn,
I can't think of the name, but he stopped him.
He fought him Robert Garcia.
Yeah, we'll put it at the bottom. He beat him. He beat I know who you talking about, the punching bag that Tim Bradley beat.
Yeah, Brandon
Rio. He beat Brandon Rio, and he beat the other guy I'm talking about, but you put his name at the bottom. I can't think of his name right now. And he fought he lost to Sean Porter and lost to Keith Thurman.
So I'm saying, so the competition level was a little different at 147. Of course, he beat the guys he was supposed to beat, but when it comes to, there was no Keith Thurman, I know Sean Porter's at 140 when he fought, in my opinion. Now at 154, I see him having the same issue. I see him having more issues because of the age. He's older now. He's smaller than most of the people up there. And, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be some competition up there that it's not at 150, it's not at 147. Like, to me, you said Fondor name earlier. To me, Fondor, it would be a fun, exciting fight because Fondor leaves himself open for a lot of counter punches. So I know it'd be a great fight while it lasts. But does he really have a chance in beating Fondor, or will he get outworked and bullied? Okay. I'm going to be honest, it's a good fight. It all depends on how he looked this weekend against Jose Benavides. Because that fight is a blockbuster fight. I'm not going to lie. So maybe they should think about making that fight.